check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up.
All right. Jacksonville shit simmers. Welcome to the league's first fantasy podcast. Let's go ahead and welcome back all of you. And by all of you, I do mean 10 of you. Because 2 of us did decide to drop, those losers. I don't know why they could possibly drop from the world's greatest fantasy football league, but we did have 2 new owners join. Let's welcome them, Max and Jose. Max and Jose join our very long-tenured league of 1 year. But they do join, and we are happy to have them. And let's also do a quick look back. Some congrats on our league winner, Frank. Again, Frank. Stink, stank, stunk. Wins the whole thing. Going 7-7, scoring 1,949 points. The second lowest point total of the entire year. Somehow wins the league. Congrats, Frank. Every year for the past 15 years, you seem to come out on top. Good job, buddy. I can't wait to see how you do it again, because you always do. Second place was one of my personal favorites all year, Chalupa Batman Cooper. You had the stack, the Minnesota stack, but also only went 7-7. Thought you were injured a lot of the year. Just had some shortcomings. A low total point score, 2046. But really came on in the playoffs. And I like I said, I picked you to win the whole thing. So I thought you had a good showing. Frank just pulls it out, as he always does. Except for when he had 3 kids. So next on the list, third place is Chad, all caps, one of the most dominant teams last year at 11-3, 2,200 and change. He was, I think, second or third. I'm gonna say third. Yeah, third on the total points scored. Had a very good year. So congrats, Chad, for taking home third place. For those of you who have not picked up on it, this is a podcast. Your fearless leader has decided to go ahead and start posting on YouTube. So I guess I shouldn't call it a podcast. But I do the weekly email and decided it would just be maybe easier for some of you to listen to a quick podcast just about the league. You try to do weekly game of the weeks, power rankings, things like that. I plan to do one a week. After the draft, might do a few just to review some drafts. And I do plan on having some guest speakers. Bill Belichick, he's on the list. I hear Steve has a hookup. Derrick Henry, our local prodigy from Jacksonville. TJ said he can hook me up with him. I was going to get Trey Lance. Ryan had to end, but, well, he sucks. Sorry, Niner fans. You wasted 3 first-round draft picks, but the Dolphins thank you. So that's kind of the plan with the podcast. Thanks again, TJ, for your help. This week, not covering much, just going to kind of go over some league rules. The next podcast, which actually will come out at the same time, that will be more about strategy for the draft. So I hope you do listen to that, particularly 2-quarterback strategy. A lot of you haven't played in Superflex or 2-quarterback leagues. I heard someone comment about quarterback hoarding. Like, if you thought that, you just didn't plan for quarterbacks. In 2-quarterback leagues, it's definitely a thing. In Superflex, not so much. It can happen, but like I said, listen next week. We will go over some of those thoughts. So for this week, like I said, just league news and rules. So let's go over some things. First of all, league participation. I don't expect everyone to be posting podcasts every week, but, do expect some general participation. All of you are in the WhatsApp group. Feel free to mute it, but do also try to check in, I don't know, once a week, every week or so, maybe every Sunday during the games. Watch some games, give us your comments. Really do appreciate all of that. All of us, want to hear about your teams. So tell us how you're doing, not only fantasy-wise, real life, or if you're Frank, post about soccer. Nobody cares, Frank, but we'll pretend just to entertain you. So just a quick note on that league participation. Now moving on to the greatest time of the year. It is next Saturday, 8:26 at Cool Haynes, 5 p.m. Saturday. We get to draft. Definitely the best time of the year. I hope everyone can be there. So far, no one has said they cannot attend, so I do expect to see everyone there. As far as league dues go, I did send out a survey monkey as voted. The majority of the owners, or actually more so than the majority, decided that $100 was going to be this year's league dues. Don't be a jerk. Just Venmo me them, please. I don't want to chase you down, and nobody wants to be chased down. Just send me $100 via Venmo. Call it a day. About half the league has already done so. If you can't send it to me before the draft, please just text me or something and say that, I'll have it at the draft. Like $100 cash at the draft. Everybody needs to have cash at the draft. We do have Gordy, one of our former managers. Gordy is willing to draft and be in the league again, just can't attend or really participate, but he was an active owner last year and one of the best teams all year. He is willing to take your spot, so he will draft via computer if we don't have anyone paid up. So please pay the dues. That is my last comment on them. We're all adults. Just kind of get that done. So the draft, if you haven't picked up, I mentioned this in the email, team names. If you haven't noticed, we do have a theme. Our theme is the TV show The League. It is an older comedy at this point, but it was about fantasy football, a bunch of guys playing fantasy football, and it was pretty funny. It's on Hulu. I sent out a link in the Hulu. If you don't get some of my jokes or references, they're from The League. So if you read the first email that I just sent out about the league kickoff, the entire paragraph that I wrote was basically copied from the opening of the league, the first season, the first show. So I adjusted a little bit, but a lot of the comments that you hear that you probably don't understand are from there. So please give it a watch. It is fun. I would like to have all of our team names represent that. So if you could rename your teams to something to do with The League, the TV show. All right, moving on to, we talked about some rule changes, or league due changes, but I want to talk about rule changes and kind of executive decision here referencing the league. It is decided. I'm not changing anything. Let's give it 2 or 3 years. I think the setup is pretty good. We didn't have a lot of issues last year. We were pretty balanced, and I think somebody at some point said something about quarterback hoarding. And if you think that no team really quarterback hoarded, in fact, I would say we don't value quarterbacks nearly as much as most Superflex or 2 quarterback leagues. So if you thought that, you probably just aren't used to Superflex. So anyway, I don't want to change anything. I want to see how this balances out for a couple seasons and then get your guys' thoughts and kind of figure out what to do. I thought about, limiting the bench size by 1 more and kind of moving from there to see if that created more trade or a waiver wire movement. But we'll see. We're just going to stand pat. Multiple people commented on the league payout. 70-30-10 is what we're going with. We did vote to have some money reserved for a trophy. Well, I've got some surprises for you guys. We have more than a trophy that we're going to have, but we're going to have a trophy. Frankly, I don't know if we're going to have a nice trophy. I might build it. That's right. I might build it. So, going to figure that out this weekend. I'm kind of handy, not the most handy, but I can build a trophy. So, might have that and some other league prizes. So we've got some money set aside out of our dues to have a good time at the draft. I do promise surprises, one of which is the last place punishment. It was never voted on or consensus, but we are going to have a last place punishment. That goes to the Sacco, who's me. So while I'm not excited, I will be the Sacco and will take the punishment. The league winner, again, Frank, has some say in that. So we've talked about it offline. You will be surprised, and we'll go from there. As far as scoring, again, not changing anything, but it was pretty overwhelming that you guys like kickers. I'm not sure why, but I did nerf kickers last year, and most of you wanted kickers to go back to the default of scoring more points. I did change that. Yahoo has some settings where you can get points per yard, so I set it that way. So look at league scoring if you want to see that. The biggest issue that we have at hand is how we're going to do free agents, and it was completely split. So we're going to just talk about this at the draft. We're going to take a vote and go from there between Fab and believe it or not, we had some first come first serve, like 24/7 first come first serve votes. So no waivers at all. So we'll see. I'm really up for anything. I play in leagues with all three, and I'm fine with it. So we'll see. We'll have a good discussion at the draft about what to do with that. And lastly, one of the things that is going to be this league's theme is the draft order. The draft order will be decided the night of the draft. This year it was based upon March Madness brackets. There might be something else in there, but March Madness brackets will help obviously determine the draft order. I'm up for whatever. I'm taking any suggestions, but I want to have some off-season fun with you guys, so we'll have something in the off-season helping us to determine the draft order, and we'll go from there. Everybody, the draft, to close out here, the draft is 8/26 next Saturday, 5 p.m. Cool Haynes. They wanted to charge us. I talked him out of it. Ryan, many years ago, ran a league that ran for a long time, and we have been going there for literally probably a decade, and they said, we're not going to charge you, essentially, as long as we buy dinner. So instead of having a fee that everybody has to pay, just plan on eating dinner when we get there, and they're not going to charge us. So want to make sure we do that and take care of our waiters and waitresses. They're here all night, but want to make sure we do that. Anyway, that's it for this first podcast. Thank you, everyone, for coming back. Really excited. Had a good time last year. Steve, the Patriots suck. All you Niner fans, look, you're never going to be healthy. Just get over it. All you Dolphin fans out there. Other than that, I'll see you guys next Saturday. Peace out.